Welcome to Podnutz Daily for September 3rd, 2008, episode number 69. I'm going to have to keep this Podnutz episode short today because I'm going to be interviewing Scott Mueller today at 6:30. So I'm just going to run for about 15 minutes, and then that Scott Mueller interview will be the next episode of Podnutz, which I will release either tonight or tomorrow. Now, I know I've promised things in the past that I haven't delivered on as far as when I'm going to get things out, but I really mean it this time. I will have Podnutz out for tonight or tomorrow. First thing I want to talk about is Google Chrome. You guys heard of this? Google Chrome is a browser from Google, and I haven't even used it yet, but I just wanted to put it out there and see what people are thinking about it. It's very simplistic looking from like the videos and stuff, and that's just right down like Google's alley. I think that's what they're good at, is just keeping it simple, which I like. Now, I'm really attached to my Firefox, so it might take me take something pretty big to take me off of Firefox, but let's see what Google Chrome can offer. I'll probably try it tonight or tomorrow. But if you guys do use it, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. First computer I want to talk about is a Toshiba laptop I had. Now, this was one of the nightmare laptops that just have them driving me crazy. Customers have been waiting forever for this. This is definitely the longest time I've had somebody's computer, and they're waiting for it. So, long story short, here's the quick story. I ordered a motherboard for this Toshiba laptop because the motherboard was bad. I knew it was bad because, I had diagnosed it. And what it was doing was basically, you turn it on, it would go on for about a second, and then it would power off. I checked out everything else, and I knew it was the motherboard. You could listen to a past episode to find out exactly what I did. I can't even remember. But it was a motherboard, so I ordered a motherboard. Now, instead of actually checking the model number of the motherboard itself, I just went by the model number of the laptop. And I didn't put enough numbers in of the model number, so I ordered the wrong motherboard. So got that in. I had to send that back to the company. No, actually, I got that in, and I'm trying to resell that one on eBay, actually. So I ordered another motherboard for this person's computer. Installed it, put everything together, started it up. The USB ports were not working on this computer no matter what I did, no matter what operating system I ran, so I knew the USB ports were bad. Sent that motherboard back. They sent me another one. Now, the second one, I put everything up, plugged it all in, said this has to work. Hooked it all up, started it up. The touchpad was not working. And no matter what I did, I could not get the touchpad to work. Now, the touchpad had a cable that was starting to fray a little bit, so I thought it might have been that. Something might have shorted out on the cable, and the touchpad would fry the touchpad controller, the motherboard. So I sent that back to the same company. I said, look, you sent me two bad motherboards. I want my money back. And so while I'm waiting for them to give me my money back, I ordered another motherboard for this laptop. So I'm out like almost $500 now. And I hooked this one up, got it all set up, plugged everything together, started it up. The touchpad wasn't working. So, at this point I said, okay, the odds are too great that the two motherboards are sent with bad touchpad controllers. If there is such a thing. I call it the touchpad controller. Basically where you plug the cable into the touchpad and the circuitry around that area. That's what I'm calling a touchpad controller. Well, I did that. Touchpad didn't work. So I said, okay, it's got to be the touchpad is bad. So I took the touchpad completely apart, make sure all the cables were plugged in correctly, put everything back together. Touchpad still didn't work. Okay, now there's a key on the keyboard on this computer. It's got a little picture of a mouse and like a little like a Ghostbuster sign, a little red circle with the cross through it over the mouse, and it's basically to toggle on and off the touchpad. I pressed the function in that key, and the touchpad worked. All right, now here's what boggles me, and I still don't know where the actual circuitry is. I'm thinking that the touchpad must have some kind of on-off switch in it, because here's the thing. Both motherboards that got sent to me where the touchpad wasn't working, you would think that that's stored in the BIOS to enable or disable the touchpad. Well, there's nothing in the BIOS for it. So I would think that the default setting on a motherboard in the BIOS would be to have the touchpad on. So that's why after I got the second motherboard in and the touchpad didn't work, I thought for sure it was the touchpad. But it was actually I just had to hit the function key and the F9 or whatever key it was, and the touchpad started working. Look, read into that what you will. I don't know where the actual on-off switch is located for the touchpad. I'm thinking it's just in the circuitry of the touchpad. not on the motherboard. Otherwise, if I went on the new motherboard, it would have worked out of the box. And even when I reset the defaults in the BIOS, it still should have worked. But it didn't. So anyway, that works now. That computer's done. Okay, how to get rid of Windows Defender. I'm not sure if some of you have been in Vista. Loaded up or Vista comes, I think, with Windows Defender. It's not one of those programs you can just go and add and remove programs and uninstall. In fact, I don't even think it's there. What you got to do to disable it, can't even uninstall it really, from what I understand. But to disable it, you got to go into msconfig and disable it. Now, you know how you go into msconfig and you go into services and you want to turn off some services? You always check that box that says hide all Microsoft services, because the services you want aren't Microsoft services mostly. You don't want to mess with Microsoft services for the most part because the operating system needs them. Well, to turn off Windows Defender, you actually have to go into the services, the Microsoft services. That's where you will find the services button for Windows Defender. You can turn it off in there. I don't know if there's a way to uninstall it, but that is the way to disable it. Okay, I had a computer I was talking about yesterday. It was an eMachines desktop that was acting funny. I thought it was the processor. I did replace the processor, and that worked. Now the computer is fine. We replaced it. It's a socket 478 Pentium 4 processor. Put a new one in, works fine. Now, the symptoms it had, if you didn't listen yesterday, was it was just at boot up, it would do something different every time. Sometimes it would get past the flash screen. Sometimes it would stay at the eMachine screen. Sometimes it would get halfway through the Windows boot up procedure. And we switched out the RAM. We tested the hard drive. It did the same thing for Knoppix, same system for Knoppix when I tried to run Knoppix. Very few times do I have to switch out a processor, but those are always the symptoms when I have a bad processor. It acts funny right when you turn the system on, usually around boot up, and it never quite makes it to where you want to go. It never quite loads the operating system. Just my observations on a processor replacement. Okay, I had a Microsoft Outlook nightmare computer today. Killed me, just absolutely killed me. I worked on it from almost the time I got in till the time I was about to leave. It was Outlook, and what happened was, guy had a laptop. He was running Outlook. His whole life is on Outlook. His BlueBerry synced to it and all that junk. A couple of his friends used his computer, and after they gave it back to him, he could not send emails in Outlook. Now, I did every kind of Outlook repair. It didn't work. So I said, all right, I'm going to uninstall Outlook and reinstall Outlook. This is 2003 version, by the way. I uninstalled it and reinstalled it. And after I did that, I kept getting this message every time I tried to send an email that I think it's like Microsoft is configuring Office Professional 2003. I'm sure you guys have seen that stupid window, that little button